Is there a good and bad side to schizophrenia? Well, I guess the good side would probably be creativity. Depressed people are more creative than the general public. Bipolar people are more creative than depressed people. And schizophrenics are the most creative people as a group on the planet, I believe. And then some things on the bad side would be life expectancy. Life expectancy is thought to be about 20 years less. They did a new study in Ontario, Canada, and it said 10 years less. If you don't smoke and if you get some exercise, that alleviates some of that issue. Another problem is motivation. If you take out the dopamine from the brain, you have lower motivation. Another problem is sleep. You only sleep at 76% efficiency. That's not related to the medication, that's related to the disease itself. If you don't take medication, you still have this sleep problem. There's the positive symptoms, as everyone knows about, the delusions, the grandiose thoughts, hearing voices, seeing things, paranoia. There's the negative symptoms. Social withdrawal, flat emotional effect, etc. There's an IQ deficit from birth of 30%, and there's additional cognitive deficits that develop when the disease presents itself, usually in the 20s. And this deficit can largely be alleviated, or a lot of it can be alleviated through exercise, which I talked about in my last video. You're 12 times more likely to be the victim of violent crime of some kind, and you're 6 times as likely to be the perpetrator of crime like that. And this ties into kind of the stigma of mental illness. A lot of the stigma is related to not having a job or inappropriate or unusual behavior. And those two things are some of the main factors in the stigma of mental illness. There is a spiritual side to schizophrenia. If you've spent time in a mental health ward, a lot of people believe in this cosmic struggle between good and evil, and kind of angels and demons, and battling it out in this kind of spiritual warfare for humanity, basically. And I'm a spiritual person, so I believe in stuff like that. And I think schizophrenics might have an impact on the world in a spiritual way. And maybe there is a reason that 1 in 100 people is schizophrenic. Maybe this is tied into the greater creativity or the unusual or inappropriate behavior, and people with schizophrenia are less part of this kind of group think, and they're more free thinkers, perhaps. I'm not sure. But schizophrenics may have an impact in a spiritual sense, and that may be tied into some of the bad and the good qualities of schizophrenics. We should, but perhaps maybe we should still work to alleviate and get rid of many of the symptoms of schizophrenia as possible to help with the suffering of the world. As you can see, that the bad things like the life expectancy, motivation, sleep, positive and negative symptoms seem to outweigh the good side, and I think that's why they call it a disability. Else they'd call it an advantage to be a schizophrenic. So there does seem to be more bad things than good things. Anyway, thanks for the question, Mr. Godkid. I appreciate your comment, and hopefully I'll see the progression over decades as I move forward on my journey in life. And thank you very much for the question. Bye.